Hi guys, this is the Java series. In this session, we will discuss about constructor chaining. What is constructor chaining? Constructor chaining is the process of calling one constructor from another constructor with respect to the current object. I repeat it again. Constructor chaining is the process of calling one constructor from another constructor with respect to the current object. What is the usage of constructor chaining? It makes the program more readable. This is the advantage of constructor chaining. How can be done constructor chaining? There are two ways. The first one within the same class by using this keyword. The second one from base class by using the super keyword. In this session we will discuss about how constructor chaining can be done using this keyword, that is within the same class. Okay, here I have created the package constructor chain. Okay, this is the name of the package. Inside this package I have created the class. The class name is chain this. Okay, and here what is it? This is the default constructor. The name should be same as the class name. Okay, and here there is no parameters. That's why this constructor is the default constructor. Okay, inside this constructor I have created the another constructor. Okay, so this is called the constructor. This keyword is used to refer the current class object. So this of 5. Here I have passed the parameter value. Okay, this is the default constructor. Inside this constructor I have the constructor, but this is the parameterized constructor because here I have given the parameter value. Okay, and I have created one more constructor. But here I have given the parameter. Okay, x is the argument, its data type is integer. Okay, the name should be same as the class name. Okay, and inside this parameterized constructor I have the another constructor. Okay, here I have two parameters. Inside the single parameter constructor I have the two parameters constructor. This keyword refers the current class object. Okay, so this statement is the parameterized constructor. This parameterized constructor is placed inside the single parameterized constructor. And one more statement. This statement is used to print the value of x on my console. Okay, and here I have created the third constructor. Here I have given two arguments, x and y. Both are integer data type. Okay, and here I want to print the multiplication of x and y on my console. Okay, and inside this class only I have the main method. So my file name should be same as this class name only. Okay, chain this .java file. Okay, so here the default constructor. Here there is no parameter. Okay, so what happens? Actually execution starts only from the main method. Already we know. Okay, so here we have the default constructor. There is no parameter. So the control search where this constructor that contains no parameter. Where is it? Here only that constructor is present. So the control comes here and inside this default constructor I have the parameter, that is the single parameter constructor. So the control again jumps from the 12th line to the single parameter constructor. Here the control comes. And inside this single parameter constructor I have the two values constructor. Okay, so the control again jumps from the 20th line to the double parameter constructor. So the control comes here. And here what we have, multiplication of x and y. So our result will be the multiplication of 5 and 15, because this 5 will be stored inside the x and 15 will be stored inside the y. So 5 into 15 will be the result. Okay, and again what will happen, the control after printing this statement jumps from the 28th to the 21. The x value alone will be printed, that is 5 will be printed on our console, and then the control jumps from the 21 to the 12th line. Okay, and here the default constructor will be printed on our console. Okay, and then the control jumps from the 13th line to the 34. So the program will be finished. Is it clear? So this process is called the constructor chaining. So constructor chaining is the process of calling one constructor from another constructor with respect to the current object. Okay, let me execute this one. Here, this is my output. The execution starts only from the main. Here I have the default constructor. Inside the round brackets there is no parameter. So the control jumps from the 33 to the default constructor, 9th statement, and here we have the single parameter constructor. So the control search where the single parameter constructor. After finding the single parameter constructor, the control jumps from the 12th line to the single parameter constructor. Here this 5 is stored inside the x variable, and then the control comes inside the single parameterized constructor, and the double parameterized constructor is placed. After finding the 2 argument constructor, the control again jumps from the 20th line to the double parameterized constructor. Here the 5 is stored inside the x and 15 is stored inside the y, and this value, that is the multiplication of 5 into 15, is printed. After then the control again jumps from the 27th line to the 21st line, and the value of x is printed. That's why we got 5 here. And then the control again jumps from the 21st to the 13th line. That's why we got the default constructor here. Okay, so this process is called the constructor chaining. Constructor chaining can be done in any order. It may be a descending order of the arguments, or it may be the ascending order of the arguments. Okay. In the previous session, we have discussed about how the constructor chaining can be done in the descending order. Okay. In this session, we will discuss about how the constructor chaining can be done using this keyword in ascending order. Okay. So here I have created the package. This is my package name and this is my class name. Inside this class only I have the main method. So I have given the file name as this class name only, and inside this class I have created the constructors. The constructor name should be same as the class name. Already we have discussed. Okay. And there is no return type. Okay, and what type of constructor is this? This is the default constructor because it does not contain any arguments here. Okay, and what is the role of this constructor? It's used to print the default constructor on my console. Okay, and here I have created one more constructor, but it contains the single parameter, that is single argument. Its data type is integer. What is the role of this single argument constructor is, it is used to invoke the current class default constructor because this keyword is used to refer the current class object. Already we discussed about this keyword. So what is it? This is used to refer the current class default constructor because inside the round brackets there is no arguments. This statement is used to invoke the default constructor of this class. Okay, and here we have one more statement. The value of x will be printed on my console. And here I have one more constructor. Inside this constructor I have used 2 arguments. And what is the role of this double parameterized constructor. Here this of 5, that is single parameterized constructor. So here this keyword is used to invoke the single parameterized constructor of this class. Okay, so here I have the value 5. That value 5 will be stored inside the x variable, and all the statements inside the single parameterized constructor will be invoked. And here we have one more statement. So this statement is used to print this on my console. Multiplication of x and y value will be printed on my console. Okay, and here I have the main method. So execution starts only from the main method. So after encounter this line, what will happen? The control jumps from the 32nd line to the double parameterized constructor. Where is it? Here we have. So the control comes here, and the 8 will be stored inside the x variable and 10 will be stored inside the y variable. Okay, and all the statements inside this double parameterized constructor will be executed. So let me execute this one, then only you can understand easily. So this is our output. So execution starts only from the main method. Here after encounter this line, the control carries the 8 and 10 and jumps from the 32nd line to the 22nd line, because here we have the constructor with 2 argument values. So the control jumps from the 32nd to 22nd line. Here 8 is stored inside the x and 10 is stored inside y, and inside this double parameterized constructor we have the single parameterized constructor, because this keyword refers the current class object, and here we have the single parameter value. So the control again jumps from the 25th line to the single parameterized constructor, that is here the control comes, and the value 5, that is here we have the 5. So that value is stored inside the x variable, and inside this single parameterized constructor we have the default constructor. This refers the current class object. Here there is no parameter values, and the control jumps from the 17th line to constructor. Here we have the statement default constructor. That's why we got this output here. After then, the control again jumps from the 11th line to the 18th line. Okay, so here we have this statement. So the x value is printed here. That's why we got this statement here. And then the control again jumps back to 26th line. Here we have the statement multiplication of x and y. That's why we got this value. That is 8 into 10. 80 is the result. Okay. After then the control jumps from the 26 to 33. The program is finished. Okay. So what order is this? This is the ascending order. Here this is the default constructor, means no parameters. Here single parameter and then 2 parameter. So this order is the ascending order. But in the previous session we have seen this example. Now I execute this. Here 2 parameters and single parameter and then no parameter. So this is the descending order. So constructor chaining can be done in any order. Okay, any order means what? Ascending or descending order. So in this example we got the descending order output. Here in this example we got the ascending ordered output. I hope you all understood about what is the constructor chaining, and constructor chaining can be done in any order, that is either descending or ascending order. Okay. In this session we will discuss about how the constructor chaining can be done using the super keyword. Here I have created the package. Inside this package I have created the base class. Inside this base class I have created the name variable. Its data type is string. And inside this base class I have 2 constructors. This constructor is the default constructor and this constructor is the parameterized constructor. The constructor name should be same as the class name. Here there is no argument, that's why we can call it as the default constructor. Here we have the argument, that's why we can call it as the parameterized constructor. And I have created one more class. This class name is derived and it inherits the base class. Okay, so what type is this? Single inheritance type. Derived class inherits all the properties and behaviors from the base class. Inside this derived class also, we have two constructors like the previous, default and the parameterized. Okay, and here I have created the chain super class. Inside this class only I have the main method. Execution starts only from the main. Inside this class only I have the main. So my file name should be same as this class name only. And here I have created the object for derived class, object 1 and object 2. Okay, here I have used the default constructor for object 1 and here I have used the parameterized constructor for object 2. Okay, after encounter this line, the control jumps from the 46th line to the 25th line because here only the default constructor. Inside the round brackets there is no arguments. That's why the control jumps from the 46th line to the 25th line. And inside this default subclass constructor, I have the super keyword. Okay, so super refers to the immediate base class constructor because this is placed inside the constructor. So this super is responsible to invoke the super class constructor only. So the control again jumps from the 27th line to the 8th line because this is the default constructor for this base class. That's why the control comes here. And inside this default constructor, I have this keyword. Okay, this of family means this is the argument value. This refers the current class object. So it indicates the single parameterized constructor. So the control jumps from the 10th line to the 15th line. Here we have the parameterized constructor. So this is used to invoke the current class parameterized constructor. Got it? And inside this parameterized constructor, again we have this keyword. Using this keyword, I initialize the variable which is present inside the base class. So this refers the current class object. This dot name is equal to name. This name is the constructor argument and this name is the variable which is present inside the base class. Okay, and here we have one statement. So this will be printed on our console with the value of the name variable which is present inside the base class. Next, what will happen? The control jumps from the 18th line to the 11th line. And this statement will be printed on our console. And then the control jumps back to the 28th line. Okay, so we will get this statement on my console. Okay, and again the control jumps back to the 48th line. Here I have one more object for the same subclass or derived class. Okay, and here I have used the parameterized constructor. Okay, so the control carries the value happy and search where the parameterized constructor of this derived class. After finding the parameterized constructor for this subclass, the control jumps from the 48th line to the 32nd line because this only the parameterized constructor. Okay, and this happy will be stored inside the name variable. And here we have the super keyword. This super keyword is used to refer the immediate parent class constructor only, because this is placed inside the constructor. So this statement is used to invoke the super class constructor. What type of constructor? Parameterized constructor, because here we have the parameter value. Okay, so the control jumps from the 35th line to the 15th line here, and that happy will be stored inside the name variable, and that value will be stored inside the this dot name. That is, happy will be stored inside the name variable which is belongs to this base class, and then this statement will be printed on our console, and then the control jumps back to here. So this statement will be printed on our console. The name happy will be printed on our console. Let me execute this one. So execution starts only from the main method. Okay, object 1 is the object of the derived class. Here we have the default constructor. So 46 to the default constructor of a subclass here, and then the control jumps from the 27th line to the default constructor of the superclass. So control comes here, and here this of family. So the control jumps from 10th line to the base class parameterized constructor. So that value is printed here, family. Okay, and then the control jumps back to the 11th line. Here we have this statement. That's why we got this one on our console. After then the control again jumps back to the 28th line. Here we have no argument constructor of derived class. That's why we got this output. Okay. Again the control jumps back to the 48th line. Here the object name is object 2. Here we have the parameterized constructor. Okay. So the control jumps from the 48th line to the 32. Happy is stored here, and super of happy. So the immediate parent class parameterized constructor. So the control comes here, and happy is stored inside the name. That value is stored inside the name which is inside the base class. That's why we got this output. After then the control again jumps back to this statement, 36th line. So this is printed here. Name is happy. Okay, so this is the execution flow of the constructor chaining using the super keyword. Okay, I hope you all understood about how the constructor chaining can be done using the super keyword. We have completed this session. If you have any doubts, drop the message on the comment section. If this video is useful to you, like and share. For more videos, subscribe my channel, hit the bell icon, then only you will get the notification for my new updates. Have a nice day. Thank you.